up, guys? Crypto market update. It is December 15th, 2019. So starting here with coin market cap. Notice that the BTC dominance has slowly started to tick down over the last few days. Notice some alts that are going off. We're going to talk about those. Some alts that are staying pretty steady. Market cap is still just under 200 billion. I want to talk too about this new liquidity feature they have on CoinMarketCap and what that means. I'll get into that a little bit later. But first, let's look at Bitcoin chart. So here's the daily Bitcoin on Bitfinex. The right now it's around what, $7,139. I want to point out the Bollinger Bands, right? These Bollinger Bands are getting super tight. And the caliper of these Bollinger Bands have only been this much several times in the history. And every time it happens, there's about a 30% move following that. The bias is as it starts, if it's underneath the red line, underneath the red center line, if it's underneath that's bearish bias. And if it's above it, it's a bullish bias. That it's not always the case, though. We can look back. As let's see, a few years ago we had a move to the downside before it moved back up. You can see right here as they tightened, moved down before we started to pump and went on that crazy run that we're all very familiar with. We shot up to $20,000. So where we currently are is we're grinding at that support of that $7,100, which is really a pretty must-hold level. I believe if we break down much lower, below 7,000 too much, that invalidates the head and shoulders pattern that we saw recently. You see it on the 4-hour. We have the left shoulder, head, right shoulder, then it broke. And now we're consolidating. It's beginning to look like that's invalidating. Still watching, though, for that potential Adam and Eve double bottom. You know, the Adam sharp V bottom, and then now an Eve, kind of what we had at the bottom back in last December when we were down at that $3,000 level. Look on the weekly here. You know, we had a similar pattern that played out. We had that Adam, a little bit more pronounced here, the Adam, and then slowly the Eve, double bottom. On the slower time frames, this one looks a little bit similar. On the weekly, it gets a little bit brushed out. But we can see the Adam, slight Adam, and then now looking in that Eve. So if we start to slowly tick back up over the few days, I think that'll be pretty bullish. If we do break to the upside, you know, I have a target. I'm in a small long, but I'm watching really closely and break. If we start breaking down between that 68 or so, it's a mental stop. So I'm watching. I've kind of changed it because it was at like 71, but we've just been grinding around there, going back and forth. So I've been holding for now. I will let you guys know if I cut out of that. And if you're interested too, I have a Discord group. I give all my trade alerts out there. It's free to join. So if you're interested, the link's in the bottom. So a couple other coins, so I'm watching that. So then also for my targets, we're still in this descending wedge, which is a very bullish. It's a pretty large descending wedge. We're coming, depending on where you draw the top trend line, we're coming up to test that again. I believe if we do break, see a pretty quick move up to around 8,500 and potentially even up to that 9,600 level before we do a pull back, which would be, let's just see that there. You know, since we're talking about those 30% moves, if we do see that break, it's about a 20% move to 8,500, and then that 9,300 levels around a 30% move, which looking at the VPVR, we notice that there is quite a bit of volume up there. You know, not much. If we can break over that 83, 84, there's really low volume. And then another little volume peak there at around that 93, so 94. See it a little better there. Also, then we come up against the 200-day moving average, which will, I imagine, since it does offer support, will offer resistance, at least initially, So another big coin that I'm looking at is XTZ. I'm super bullish on XTZ. It is my biggest altcoin holding. We're moving right up here against resistance. There's the USD chart. We started testing resistance to break into all-time highs, had a slight pullback, and now it looks like we're making another push up. You know, Tezos is a smart contract platform. I really like it. It has a really wonderful form of governance. It's also already on top of the staking, which Ethereum is moving to staking here. And I'd be real surprised if Ethereum can pull it off just smoothly, you know. So it is, XTZ is already kind of leaps ahead. Also, they don't really do any marketing. They haven't paid for any coin listings. And they just continue to gain in popularity. Look at the XTZ ETH chart, which this is really pretty telling. It already broke out on the ETH chart. This is the daily, and I think this is, I'm not trading this market, but I think it's pretty telling because it does show that it's gaining market share over ETH, and Ethereum is its really the market share it's going after, being smart contract platforms. You know, where Ethereum was in the ICO market, which has been a bust now recently, where Tezos is getting in the STO platform, which is security token offerings, where can tokenize, you know, a whole host of things, like tokenize legitimate assets like stocks and bonds and those kinds of things. So I think the STO market is really huge and going to be a big thing to look for. So this is telling. Go back to the dollar chart, and I want to point out we're forming this pretty big ascending triangle. So hold to watch and see how this plays out. If you know, if this triangle is validated, it either, you know, could literally break right out. It does have the couple of touches, 2 touches, 3 touches here on the line, or maybe see another pullback. If we do see another retest about around that dollar level, I don't know if we're going to see a pullback all the way that far. If we do, great. I'll buy more at that. I was in a trade for most of this move, and I've sold all of it. I will buy on a breakout though if we do a strong break on the USD chart above that 190 level or so. But I'll keep you guys posted again in that however we go. So Matic, we all know Matic had a huge dump. It's a bummer, you know. I think these kinds of dumps, developers really hurt the cryptocurrency space. I did, you know, doesn't prevent me from trading it. I am entering into a trade. After I saw this touch right there and this wick, I entered into another trade around 188 or so, something like that. And, you know, I'll look, if this starts to break down, I'll cut out. I'm not interested in holding Matic at this point until we start to see a reversal of this trend. But if we do see a break out of this descending wedge, I think that could be pretty bullish. My target is around the 170 mark or so. See how that plays out. You know, maybe there looks like there's some confluence on the EMAs here. Where the 55 EMA and the 233 EMA will meet. I trade the Fibonacci EMAs, and I notice they can be pretty great for swing trading and retests. You know, when these two, if Matic does end up getting up here by these two lines join, there'll definitely be, well, not definitely, nothing's absolute, right? But I'm most likely a high probability that there'll be a big pullback at that point, and it's a good take profit place. So that's where I'll be taking profit there. All right, Theta, this is another one of my trades. Looks like it's starting to break out here. I've been watching this all morning. Ended up taking a, once we broke, and this was a little bit in my last update. Once we broke this initial lower high and we put in a higher high on this candle right there on the 12th, I scaled in on this pullback. And so let me get rid of the VPN here. I scaled in on a pullback. I didn't get all my fills. I was hoping for a retest all the way down to yeah, around that 1,003 satoshis or so. We got to pull back to around, well, 1,095 satoshis. I got some fills in around the 1,100, 1,1200, or excuse me, 1,103.13 level. And then I've been watching it, and now we've broken around above the 233 EMA. We're continuing to push up. We can see volume has picked up over the last little bit. So all this points to, I think we're going to see a continue of the trend, and we know Theta can move pretty quick when it does move. So back in March 2019, we saw the big run up. We saw a couple big candles here. I also like this token. Been watching on CoinMarketCap and slowly moving up the way there. I'll keep you guys posted on this. My first target's around the 2,300 or 2,300 sats, somewhere. Somewhere in this area. And then I'll just keep a runner, and I'll see, if we end up testing all-time highs, I'll hold up. I'd take out in thirds. My first target around the 2,300, second target up around 37 or so, and then see how we do when we retest those all-time highs, if we even make it that far. It could just be a flop, could just be in that accumulation phase right now, and this is just one of the pushes. But it was telling that we've made a higher high. So we had lower high, lower high, lower high. Even this was a lower high, kind of double top, but lower high, and then we had a double bottom, a double bottom for a low, higher low, double bottom, lower low, double bottom, potentially higher low, and then now this push up. It looks like we're running. We're already up around 15-20%. Let's see, how much are we up for the day? 10% for the day. It's pretty good. Atom, this is another one that I'm in. Watching this, Atom's already like 50x over its ICO, but it is pushing up. It's looking like it's going to break out into some just here on the recently USD chart for another higher high that it's putting in. I'll continue to watch this. I don't know how it's going to go, if we are going to push all the way up to those all-time highs. See how it goes. King Daddy Bitcoin needs to stay up on it as well. Keep you guys posted on this one. Looking to take some profit around the 550 mark or so, and I am doing my stop loss, just a trailing stop loss. So if we do pull back, whatever that pullback is, will be my next one. And then if we end up breaking that, I got some enters. I did enter on this push down here, and then re-entered down there on that 55 EMA. Pretty much sold the bottom of that, or bought the bottom of that dip at around 345, 350, something like that. BAT, this is one that I'm interested in. I own a little bit of BAT and some long-term holdings right now. I'm looking to add to my position. So this is the daily. I really like the Brave browser. I use it all the time. That's what I use, Brave browser. I'm really big on these privacy-centric type of organizations. Also, Brave recently just saw that it exceeded 10 million active users, which is really big, right? Shows that it's gaining some of that momentum. Now, I'm not convinced it'll take market share from Firefox, Chrome, those kinds of things. But if it does, I think this could be a really big play. I'm really enjoying using the Brave browser, and I'll start accumulating. Just going to watch it, and probably on this next little push down, start buying here at support if we see it, depending on kind of what Bitcoin does. But I am interested in accumulating BAT for long-term holdings. I'll keep that up. So finally, I want to talk about this new liquidity feature here, right? So CoinMarketCap added this liquidity feature, and what this does is it basically gets rid of a lot of the, kind of these funky exchanges, right, that have a lot of wash trading. Wash trading is basically where the exchange is trading back and forth in and of itself. So I'm going to take Bitcoin BSV for instance. And so we see this 24-hour volume. It's pushing over 300 billion for the 24-hour volume. And so what this does is it will take it. We can have adjusted by volume. And so we see here, like we have some of these like Bitbox and these ones that are pushing so much volume, 35 million, but have no liquidity, right? So basically have nothing on the book. So if you do like $1,000 order, you're just gonna like crash the price. So they've added that liquidity feature, which I think is really good. Shows a ton of just wash trading happening on some of these pairs. And so what I like to do, I like this Masari IO screener, which really only does the volume for the like top 10, top 15 exchanges that, you know, they've researched. Don't believe there's much, if any, wash trading. And, you know, when we do this, we see a much different pool of these real volumes. You see Bitcoin SV only 800,000 volume, as opposed to what it's on CoinMarketCap, a lot more than that. So you can even do like the real volume top, and it shows which ones are in the top volume here, which I think is pretty good. You know, for the 24-hour volume, shows which ones are really pushing the volume. And yeah, when you do this, you don't even see Bitcoin SV in here. I mean, where is Bitcoin SV? I mean, it's not even, what? It's down somewhere around 30 or 40 or something like that. So I really like this one. I'll leave these links down in the bottom so you can do it anyways. If you guys have questions, comments, concerns, anything like that, criticisms, please drop them in the comments below. Like, subscribe, really appreciate it. And yeah, you guys